Okay. So it is decomposed organic matter made with browns that are carbon rich and greens that are nitrogen rich. The benefits of composting. I'm sure most of you already are well aware of the benefits of composting, but I'm just going to repeat it one more time for everybody. So it is nutrition for your plants. It reduces landfill because all the waste, the kitchen waste that we were originally giving away to or throwing away to the landfills are now going to be used to make our own compost that's nutrition for our plants. It is good for the environment because firstly it's very good for your plants and it helps them grow a lot better, and all the seeds that are in the compost will also help grow a lot of new plants, and again it reduces our landfill, so that's another benefit to the environment. It reduces greenhouse gases. So the reason this happens is in landfills when the waste is dumped layer over layer, the greenhouse gases like methane are emitted out. Whereas when we compost, the microorganisms that are required do not emit these greenhouse gases, and it prevents soil erosion. So these are some of the basic benefits of composting. There are a lot more benefits, but this is just the basic. The types of compost. So there are two main types of compost: aerobic and anaerobic compost. In aerobic compost, the decomposition of organic matter happens with microorganisms that require oxygen to breathe and function. Whereas in anaerobic composting, the decomposition of organic matter happens with microorganisms that do not require oxygen. Vermicompost is a type of organic aerobic compost that is made using certain species of earthworms that enhance the decomposition. So again, it is done using air, just like the aerobic compost. So the two main parts of compost are the browns and the greens. So just to clarify what materials count as browns and greens, the next two slides will be explaining them to you. So what are the browns? They add bulk and air to the compost pile. So they are the dry material. What materials count as browns? Dried leaves. So if you're adding dried leaves as your browns, you should probably crush them up. So the decomposition process happens a lot faster. Grass clippings that are free of chemical fertilizers. The reason why the grass clippings should be free of chemical fertilizers is because these chemical fertilizers can poison your compost pile, and that's something that, since it's an organic decomposed matter, it should be free of all these chemicals that we do not want our plants to grow in. Untreated sawdust, straw or hay, wood chips, cocoa peat, and packaging cardboard. So on the right, as you guys can see, remix powder. Remix powder is a type of dry material or browns that is available in the market, and it usually is composed of shredded cocoa peat and microbes. So I'll be talking about what microbes are in detail in the next few slides. It's basically a material that helps the process of decomposition to be a lot faster. Greens, the wet material. So this is the second main part of our compost. What waste count as greens? Fruit and vegetable peels from your dairy waste, eggshells and bones. Now, if you're adding bones of fish or meat, you should wash the bones first so that any particles of the meat can be removed. Food waste in small quantities, strained and not liquid. So if it is very liquidy, like say like rasam, you can probably use a strainer and just take out the more like heavy parts and leave the liquid out, because when you put in too much liquid into your compost pile, the moisture can attract pests and rodents, and also it doesn't give the right balance to your compost because it's not supposed to be too wet or too dry. What waste doesn't count as greens? So dairy products, all dairy products except for buttermilk cannot be put into your compost pile. And buttermilk, the only reason why we can add buttermilk to the pile is because it has healthy microbes, and since it's wet, you shouldn't pour it into your compost pile. Just drizzle it every few days if you want to speed up the process and make it more healthy. So food cooked in oil cannot be added. Excess citrus. Now citrus can be composted, but in small amounts, because if you add in too much of citrus peels, like if you make lemonade or some orange juice at home, the peels can make your compost pile very acidic, and that will tip off the balance of acidity and basicity in your compost. And coconut shells. Now, coconut husk is what we call cocopeat. That can be composted. If you tear out the husk and put it into your pile, it can be composted over a few cycles. But coconut shells, since they're very hard, it will take a really long time, and we suggest like not to put them into your compost pile. I hope everybody is okay. They don't have any questions so far. Okay, I'll move on. What are accelerators? So accelerators are the substances that contain microbes that help make the process faster. So as we talked about microbes being a component in remix powder, this is the same microbes, and it helps accelerate the process. So some examples are a few spoons of sour buttermilk every week. So as I explained in the previous slide, buttermilk is the only dairy product that can be added, but in limited amounts because it contains the microbes. Cow dung slurry can be added, but it's obviously not readily available to most people. So people generally just suggest to buy your readily available microbe powder or remix powder. So since remix powder already contains microbes, if you do not want to add microbes separately, that's totally fine. But adding microbes is good for your compost pile. And ready compost. So ready compost, as in like if you already prepared your compost once and you can take in a few fistfuls and just add that into your next pile. So the composting process will happen faster. What is leachate? So leachate is the liquid that seeps from the decomposing compost in certain models of bins. It can be collected once a week through a tap, and it should be diluted 10 times with water if you want to add it to your plants as a fertilizer. It can also be used concentrated to unclog drains. Now, many models of composting bins, such as terracotta bins, do not usually have a tap because the leachate that is formed during the aerobic process in the stackable terracotta pots generally just gets mixed in with the pile and doesn't need to be removed. But if your model does have a tap, you can easily collect the leachate once a week and use it for the two purposes that are mentioned in the slide. So the three simple steps: gather your kitchen waste, layer the bin with the greens from the kitchen, and layer the bins with the browns of the remix powder. So now I'm going to be showing you my video, and I'm going to show you how the process is done. So I have, I hope everybody can see my video. It's clear, right? Yeah.
You can see that, yeah?
Yeah.
Thanks.
So this is a small mini model of a 3-tier terracotta pot that can be readily available in a lot of different websites and in the market. So this is a very small. The usual pot is about this big. So for demonstrative purposes, I thought this would be easy, and I'll only be adding a little waste. But obviously, since you get a lot of waste in your kitchen every day, the pot has to be pretty big to contain that amount every day. So it's basically a 3-tier pot, but there can always be a 4-tier pot that are available in the market. And there are top, middle, and bottom compartments. So the top and the middle compartments have a mesh. So as you can see, there's a mesh so that any leachate that I talked about in the previous slide can go through and allow air to circulate through your pile, because that's a very important part in aerobic composting, which is the one I'm showing you right now. And it is the kind of composting that is most done in like throughout the world, because it's very easy to do. It's very simple. So the middle pot also has mesh, and the bottom pot is covered because because if the bottom is open, like everything will fall out. So when you first get your pile, you start filling in with your top layer, and before you start filling it, you're going to take a piece of newspaper that's the size of your bottom and just put it in there so that everything you add doesn't automatically fall to the bottom. So once you layer it with newspaper, I'm going to bring out, yeah. So this is remix powder that I talked about. It's the cocoa peat and microbes in it. And there's also my dairy kitchen waste. So that's my browns and my greens that I talked about. Before we add in our top layer, we're going to go to the bottommost pot and fill it with some dried leaves, like not completely, just one layer, dried crushed leaves. And this is for in case the leachate falls through, the dried leaves can soak it up instead of it falling and soaking up the newspaper. Okay. So this is our top pot, and I said we're going to first add in our newspaper layer that's there. I'm going to put that in. So before adding our kitchen waste, that is our vegetable peels and all the things that I mentioned, you're going to have to put in a few fistfuls of remix powder like this, because if you directly add in your wet waste, the newspaper will get soaked in the beginning of the process, and that's not how it's supposed to be done. So you can obviously wear some gloves if you don't want to touch the waste from your garden. So first we're going to take some remix powder. Now since this pot is very small, I'm only going to be sprinkling some in, but generally you will have to add about 4 to 5 fistfuls of remix powder. So I'm just going to layer it in and evenly spread it to the sides, because if you put it all in the middle and just keep adding in your layers, then everything will get too clumped up and it won't have enough air and balance. So once you add in some remix powder, so I just have some vegetable peels and coffee powder in here. I'm just going to take a little bit and just spread it evenly. So maybe about two to three fistfuls of kitchen waste with about 4 to 5 fistfuls of remix powder. You have to have more remix powder than kitchen waste, because it'll help keep the balance between the wet and the dry. But sometimes in summers, like your pile can get too dry, and that's when you have to probably add a few drops of water, sprinkles of water. And during winter, sometimes it might get too moist, and then you probably have to add more remix powder. But you'll probably learn as you go through the process. So after we've put in our remix powder, make sure that you cover the entire waste and you can't see any more waste on top. So then again, I'll take in some more kitchen waste, put it through, sprinkle it around, and some more remix powder. And again, cover the entire waste with remix powder. The reason why you have to cover the entire waste, another reason is in case there are flies around, they would probably sit on your kitchen waste. So if you add the remix powder, and then that will probably prevent it. After you add in your day's kitchen waste and your remix powder layer, you take a piece of newspaper, another piece, and you just cover it. And make sure you just tuck it into the sides so that no flies can get in, and then you cover your pot. So the second day when you're going to put your kitchen waste in, you have to take out your newspaper, because if you stack in with newspapers, it doesn't get enough air, and that's not how you're supposed to do it. So you take out the newspaper and then put in your kitchen waste. And then again, put in your remix powder. So basically it's a very simple process of just browns, greens, newspaper. Then you take out the newspaper, and again, it's browns and greens, and then as much kitchen waste as you have, you can just layer it. If you have too much waste, make sure you don't put it all at once. You should probably take a few fistfuls, put some remix powder, and then do the same, because if you put in too much of green waste, then it will get too much moisture and too clumpy. So to keep it dry and safe from pests, remix powder there should be enough layers of remix powder and compost and kitchen waste, sorry. So once you're done, you again take your newspaper, the same one that you used before, and cover it and tuck in the sides, and then close it. So let's say your topmost bin gets filled. So if your topmost bin is full, you take your top bin and move it to the center. And move your middle bin up. The newspaper that was previously there on the top of the pile should be removed before moving it to the middle compartment. and then you take your middle one and put it on top, and this will be empty. So again, you take a layer of newspaper and you put it on the bottom. The reason why the newspaper is removed from the middle layer now is because all the newspaper will probably prevent enough air from getting into the aerobic pile. So we have our newspaper on the top pile now, and again you layer it with kitchen waste and then remix powder. Yeah. So again, the first thing you're supposed to add is your remix powder, so the newspaper doesn't get soaked with the kitchen waste. So you put in some remix powder, and then you put in some of your dairy kitchen waste. And then again, you layer it with remix powder before you put in your top newspaper, and then cover it with your newspaper again. So then when you're done with that day, again, you take out the newspaper. Don't leave the newspaper inside the pile because, as I mentioned before, it won't give enough air to the pile. So let's say our second bin is full now. What we're going to do is we're going to take the bin that was already here, and we're going to dump the contents of the middle bin into that, because this has been like half composted now for like as many days as it was there, and we're going to put that into the bottom pile. And it already has some crushed leaves in there, so just let that be and add all the waste in. So let's say I have emptied this into the bottom pile. This was our middle pile. So now that this is empty and this was just filled now, this will go into the middle, and the empty one will again go up to the top. And then again, you start with your newspaper, your dry waste, your wet waste, your dry waste, and then you just basically keep going on with the process. And by the time the top bin that we've now added is full, the bottom contents, the ones that we added onto the bottom pile that was dumped in, that should be probably ready. But just to make sure that everything is completely decomposed, you can take a sieve that you get in most composting websites, and you can just sieve the compost and take the bigger chunks and just put them back into your next pile. So for example, like bones and like mango seeds or like big seeds, those will generally not compost in one cycle. So you can sieve those particles out and put them into your new pile. So they'll take a few cycles until they fully decompose. So that's the basic process. And what I was talking about, the microbes that you get in the market, they're generally a white powder like this. So you can just take in, say, a spoon every week or 2 weeks and just add it into your pile. If you're not satisfied with just using your remix powder, and just mix it through. So when you have your middle bin full at all times, make sure you rake it with a rake that you get in the market, like every week, just to loosen it up and not let the moisture get too stuck in. Just give it some more air, because air is very important in this process since it is aerobic composting. So yeah, that's basically the process of how to manage a 3 or 4 tired composting bin. So now I'm just going to go back to the slideshow. I'm just going to share my screen now. Okay. So I think I covered the 3 steps here. I'm going to move on to the next slide. So I'm going to go through some frequently asked questions. What are the white color microbes in remix powder? So they are natural and safe composting accelerators in powdered form, and they contain a culture of cellulosic and lignolytic microorganisms. They need moisture to become active, and they gain this moisture from the kitchen waste that we add into the compost pile. And I already showed you how the microbes look. What are maggots? Maggots are compost-dwelling soldier fly larvae breed in compost bins because they thrive on nitrogen-rich products of the decaying process that produces good compost fertilizers. So they are harmless, and they may even help the composting process by breaking down organic material. So some causes of maggots in compost. So either the maggots had already laid eggs in your kitchen waste before you added it to your compost pile, and those eggs would have hatched. So if you want to avoid that being the cause for your maggots, please keep your kitchen waste covered before you add them into your pile. If you have too many greens in your compost and it's too moist, your compost pile, sometimes maggots may enter into your compost pile. And so to avoid this, make sure you add in enough browns to keep your compost pile balanced. Solutions for maggots in your compost. As I already mentioned, add more browns. Make sure you aren't allowing flies into your compost bin or tumbler. Sun dry the compost to reduce moisture. Let's say you already have maggots in your compost. You can just dump the contents of your compost pile onto a big sheet of plastic and just leave it in the sun for a few hours and then put them back into your compost pile. And that should probably make all the maggots fly out or get out of the compost pile. Adding neem powder will help. So if you buy the compost bin online or on some websites, they usually give you a packet of neem powder with that. So you can add in a few spoons of neem powder to your compost pile and just rake it through, mix it in, and that should make the maggots fly away. Or you can just let them be. They help in breaking down organic material. So obviously you can use all the above methods to make the maggots go away, but if you decide to leave them in, they will help with the composting process and they are good for them. Why are there ants in my compost and how do I control them? So ants are beneficial for the composting process, but if you do not like ants in your compost pile, you can either add in a spoon of turmeric powder and mix that into your compost pile, or you can again use the same method as maggots. You can sun dry it on a piece of plastic and that should make the ants go away. So are eggshells good for compost? Yes, they're really good. Adding eggshells will add a lot of calcium to your compost pile and to the plants that you're growing. That helps them build their cell walls. You don't need to crush the eggshells, but if you do, that will help the process go on a lot faster. Will my compost smell? Compost does not smell. If your compost is ready, it should have a very earthy, good smell, and it should not smell. The only reason it will smell is if there is excess moisture, like you've added too much of greens or you've added wet cooked food, which is not good for your pile. But if it is smelling, just add in some more browns. You can add in some more remix powder and just use a rake to aerate the compost pile. Give it some air, because generally if you give in enough air to your compost pile, it will not smell. And yeah, how long does one cycle of composting take? On an average, it should take about 3 months, but there are different factors that determine how long it takes. The variety of materials you put into the bin. So let's say you are adding in some big seeds like mango seeds, and then you're also adding in some peels. The peels will probably take less time to compost than your big seeds, as I did mention during the previous slides. That's why like there can be a variation in how long your cycle will take. But a solution to that is you can take in all the big chunks of compost and just add them back into your previous pile. And just to make sure they're not big chunks, just use your gloves and try to just press them and see if it's big seeds or if it's just pieces that are clumped up together that you can loosen up. So the second factor is the level of your engagement in the process. So how many times you turn the pile. So what that is, as I mentioned, the middle pot, when it has contents in it, make sure you rake the pile to give it enough air. Because if it's in the middle pot, then it's between two pots and it doesn't have enough air going through it. So if you rake the pile, say every week, every 2 weeks, or every 3 weeks, the difference between the compost that comes out from your every week versus every 2 weeks would be like, if you rake it every week and give it more air, it'll compost a lot faster. The surface area of used material. So you do not need to cut up your pieces of peels from your vegetables and put them into your compost pile. But if you do cut them up, the surface area of these materials will be a lot smaller, and that will help the composting process happen a lot faster. So we have been doing that at home, and that's how our compost has been coming out pretty fast. The size of your compost pile. So if the height of your compost pile is a lot, then raking the pile will be hard, right? You cannot reach all the way up to the bottom to rake your pile. So that will probably cause the process to extend further and make your cycle a lot longer. But if you use smaller bins, you can probably reach your rake up to the bottom of the pile to give it a good mix and good rake. So the air that you get through that pile will help the process happen a lot faster. The level of moisture and aeration in your bin. So as I mentioned before, the more moisture there is in your pile, the slower the process will happen. And moisture is bad for many different reasons. Too much moisture, because first of all, it can make your pile smell. It can make your pile attract maggots and ants, like I mentioned before. And it won't give the right balance between your plants. I mean, between your compost. The type of your bin. So plastic, there's a difference between plastic pots and terracotta bins that you get in the market. Terracotta bins help you keep the temperature inside your compost pile more moderate, I would say, because during summers plastic tends to heat up, and that will give more heat into your compost pile, whereas if you use terracotta, it will generally stay cool, because we use that to drink water, and that's a pretty good example right there. The place of your bin. So you should generally keep your bin under some shade. People do not generally keep it inside their house, because in case your pile gets ants or maggots, then it could spread through your house, and that would be a bad experience. But you can keep it out, like let's say if you have your utility or your backyard and they have the small tiny roofs, you can just keep that under that. Just make sure it's shielded from too much sun or rain, because that can affect your compost pile. But if by any chance it is raining, like try to cover it with a little bit of plastic to avoid any bad circumstances for your pile. Can bones of meat and fish be added to the compost bin? They are organic material and they can be composted. But before adding your bones, as I mentioned before, wash your bones, because any particles of meat could potentially attract some rodents. If they have not decomposed, as I mentioned, bones will take a long time to decompose, just like big seeds. You can just pick them out of your pile or sieve out the decomposed material and add the bigger chunks, or in this case, the bones, into your next pile. Can citrus peels be added to the compost? As I mentioned before, again, citrus peels can be composted. Either you can add in only a few bits of the peels per day and store the rest in your fridge and add in just a little, because if you add in too much, it can make the pile too acidic. Or you can add them all in at once, but add in enough microbes and baking soda to balance the acidity in the pile. But generally, it would be suggested to just add in a few peels a day to avoid any kind of excess acidity in the pile. So these are just some websites that you can buy your composting bin from. I will be putting in the PowerPoint presentation into the WhatsApp group later, but just for your information, I am actually trying to coordinate the delivery of some compost bins over the next week by Daily Dump. We've been buying their compost materials for quite some time, and they were willing to supply some compost bins, even though there is a pretty hard situation going on right now, and it's pretty motivating for most people to start right now. So if you do want to buy a compost bin, then I will send you a link to place your order, and it is on a first come first serve basis. So already I think 10 people from my previous demo have placed some orders, so I will send you the sheet, the Google sheet, and you can place your order if you are interested. Are produced since we started composting. So this is just a few extra slides to just show you how good my garden has been producing nice vegetables and fruits. So these are just some of the fruits and vegetables. And I mean, compost does give a lot of nutrition to the plants, so it adds to the wonderful produce that we've been getting over the years. So for comments and reviews, I have a Google Docs, and that just has like a small like review sheet that I would request you guys to fill out. And I'll send that on the WhatsApp group after the call. Yeah. So one last thing I want to show you guys, I'm just going to turn on my video really quick. I want to show you how the compost looks, the ready compost. So this is some ready compost. It's fresh, earthy, it's perfectly dry, perfectly moist. There's a really good balance. It's just, it smells very earthy, and that's how it looks. So I'm done for now. If you guys have any questions, then you can ask me.
Hi, Namrata. It's Puneet here.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, thank you very much. A really good presentation. So I think the question for me on the, when you mentioned that we move the top bin to the middle,
Yeah.
and then I think at some point we move empty the contents of the middle bin into the bottom bin.
Yeah.
I know the overall process is 3 months, but typically after how long you would do that, right? Move the top to the middle and then empty the middle contents into the bottom.
So as soon as your top bin gets full, you move it to the bottom. So make sure it gets filled first.
Okay.
So as long as your bin is fully like there's enough content through it, like completely filled, you move the top bin to the bottom. And then when your new top bin is full, then you take the contents of your middle bin and add it to the bottom. So it doesn't have like it doesn't have any fixed time. Just as soon as your bin gets full, then you move it down, and then yeah, that's basically.
Got it. And when you say the process is 3 months, essentially you're saying the bottom bin, right? When the compost is being made, it will take roughly about 3 months, right?
Yeah,
for that.
3 months.
So we will empty the bottom bin generally roughly after 3 month period, right? Kind of. Is that?
Yeah, you could say that. Sometimes it might not be fully composted based on like the weather. Maybe if it's like winter months, like the compost generally happens slower. So and if there's rain also, the excess moisture outside might affect how long it takes for your compost to get ready. So in case your middle and top bin are already filled and your bottom bin is supposed to be emptied out right now, you can put it into a bucket, an empty bucket that you have cleaned out properly so that it doesn't have any other materials in it, and then cover the top. So make sure that even if you're putting it into a bucket, make sure that it's covered and it has a few holes so that it can breathe and there can be enough air inside. And you can just leave it in there and just check the moisture. You don't need to add anything to that. If it's too wet because of say rains or like the weather not being hot enough, you can add in like a little bit of remix powder. Just keep it mixed and keep it not too moist, not too dry, and just leave it in that bin until you feel like it's completely composted.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, so I guess everybody's good. If you do have any questions, you can always message me on WhatsApp. I'll respond. And for the Daily Dump website orders, I will add you all from this group to a new group. That is the group that I had with the original composting demo people, and there is an associate of the website Daily Dump there. So in case you wanna, if you have any questions about their products, you can just message her. Like I'll just inform her that I'm adding in more people and there are more people interested to order if you guys are interested. So yeah. All right, guys, I hope this demo was good for everybody. And I hope you guys learned something about the process. And I hope you all start, because I'm really excited if more people start composting, and I've helped people helped motivate people to do this, because it's a really good thing for the environment. And yeah, I'm really thank you for taking your time and attending the demo. As I mentioned before, you can always message me if you have any questions, and I will add all 5 of you to the new group, the other WhatsApp group with the Daily Dump Associate. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, Namrata. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
No problem.